So we've got 3 of the 4 steps, figures of the dance. The 4th one is quite different. It looks like, or possibly is, the swing that you find in the slang polska. So what happens here is that there's a signal for it. You open both your arms, your left arm is slightly up and your right arm is slightly down. You advance your partner and you take them in a 2-handed hold. And they're not face on to you, they're slightly offset to your right so that you're almost side by side as much as you can be. And each of you's got the left arm up and the right arm down. And you go round and round each other. Now, because you're standing pretty close together, you can't move very far apart from your partner as you do this. What we do is we step on the outside foot, which is the left foot for both people, around each other left, but don't move your body over that leg because you can't, because you're holding onto your partner right there. And then you go right and right, left, right. So you need to negotiate that turn so that your body stays pretty much where it is, but you go outside, inside and inside, outside, inside and inside. And that's the swing step that happens, it's the 4th figure. Now, we were taught originally that you try to put that swing figure in only at the end. So you have to figure out when the end is going to be. But I have definitely got a clip, which I'll refer you to, where the 2 dancers do that swing step and the music continues and they carry on dancing afterwards. So you do have options. If you are lucky or cunning enough to have fitted the swing step right in at the end of the music, well done you. If not, you can either open your hold, go back into the 1st figure or whichever figure you like, go back into the dance, or you can actually at that point change and start doing a slang polska, for example. If it's slang polska music, that would be an option that you could definitely do that. And I'll talk at the end about how you might work out, just from a sort of musical analysis point of view, of when it's likely that the musicians would stop playing, so you can kind of try and cunningly plan for that. But in the meantime, that's what you need to know about the swing step. The 4th figure is very easy. It's just go and take 2-handed hold with your partner, swing around them with the left, right and right, left, right and right step. And so we now have, in theory, the whole dance, well, as much of it as I know, 4 figures, of which you don't really need to do very much with the 4th one except figure out where to put it. So we need to practice the figures 1, 2 and 3, the anchor and the crossover and the square. And we also need to start thinking a little bit about the fact that the most interesting way to dance this dance is not to make it a regular and predictable pattern, but to mix those 3 figures up, which keeps you intrigued, it keeps your partner intrigued, and it certainly, if anybody's watching you, it will keep them intrigued. I mentioned at the beginning that there were elements that you could borrow or cross over from Oranyat Murray's. And one of those elements is that way of going away from each other and back laterally. Another thing that isn't in the original traditional form that we were taught, but which we have seen, is that you can actually, when you get comfortable with that stepping pattern, you can put extra swirls and turns in it, so long as you keep the footwork pattern correct, so that you don't lose your step, you don't wrong foot yourself. And so, for example, when we do the 1st figure, which is the place I would tend to put it in, you go back and over to your right. Then when you go to the left, you can actually swirl around as you do so long as you remember that you do that in 3 steps and then do a mark. And you can actually do that again as you come over to the right. And you can even do it as you come back in, and you could probably do it as you went out. That is up to you to experiment with and to make sure that you keep your foot pattern correct and that you keep the shape of the dance correct, but you can put as many swirls and turns in as you like. So that's quite fun when you get confident with the dance. And sometimes you might find that when it goes faster, you're actually more inclined to kind of try and put, extra spins and twists in. That's absolutely fine. Just keep the shape right. And I would be very unlikely to attempt that on the crossing in the second figure, and I wouldn't really do it in the square. Although you could experiment with, building in something on the corners of the square. That's something that I've never tried, but certainly have put swirls and turns into that long lateral sort of anchor-shaped figure. So now we need to think a little bit about the shape of the dance and what makes it more interesting. So we've got 3 figures. We've got a 4th figure, but we can kind of put that to one side for the moment because it's relatively simple and we only are looking to put it in at the end of the dance. So we're looking to create a dance with the music by mixing up the 3 figures, the first 3 figures, the anchor shape, which is 4 times 6 beats, the crossover, which is 2 times 6 beats, and the square, which is 4 times 6 beats again. And we can mix them up in any way we like. There's a convention that I certainly adhere to, which is that I start with the first figure to sort of settle into the dance and into the speed and rhythm of the music. And I would usually do that first figure at least twice through when I started this dance to make sure that you're really kind of in the swing of it and happy and confident and settled. But then we come to a choice of, okay, what to do next. Say we decide to do the second figure next. Now, say I was dancing like this in the space, and I did that first figure, and I went over to my right, and then I went over to my left, and then I went over to my right again, and then I came back to my partner. Consciously or unconsciously, probably you are orienting yourself not only relative to your right and left, but also in the dance space that you're working in. So when I say go over to your right, if I were me, I would be thinking, yeah, I go towards the plant. And then when I say over to the left, I'm thinking, yep, I go away from the plant and I look back towards it. And then I go back all the way over to the plant again, and then I come back here. Now, figure 2. So we cross the dance, and we come back in. And we go straight back into the first figure, because it's much more interesting to do that than to rigidly and squarely do another one of the second figure and come back to the starting point. Now I am facing the other way in the dance space, and my right is not towards the plant, it's away from the plant. So now I'm going to go this way when I start. So you need to have a little think about, it's more important that you are going to your own right in the dance space when you start the first figure than that you are going in the direction of some part of the room, because it can change. And that is what makes the dance intriguing to do and to watch. That particular thing really adds a certain je ne sais quoi to this dance, because as you mix it up, if you don't put in even numbers of second figures, you will change sides of the dance and restart the dance on the opposite side, so you have to reorient yourself in the dance space and relative to your dance partner. And that is what it really is, the thing that gives such flavour to this dance is that you have to kind of keep awake to that possibility. So when we mix up the figures, I would start with the first figure. And I would almost certainly do the first figure twice, so that I really got sort of settled into the foot pattern and everything was going well. And then probably I would go, then you've got 3 choices. You can do the first figure a third time, or you could do the second figure, or you could do the third figure at that point. And very likely I'd choose to do the second figure. And very likely I'd do the second figure only once, change sides of the dance and restart the first figure again on the other side. There's another thing that happens when we do that, and that is to do with the phrasing of the music, because as I said earlier at one point, if we do once through the first figure, it fills up the whole of the length of an A piece of music. And we're looking at music that typically, not necessarily, but typically would be structured A, B, B. So we fill up the A music with the first figure. We fill up the A music again with the first figure again. Then we do the second figure, and we've only filled up half the B music, but we are going to do something else now. The very easiest option is to repeat the second figure because it finishes the B music and you're comfortably with the phrasing of the music, and you then have the option to do another figure, first or third or second again, whatever you want to do. But it's far more interesting from that point, you're halfway through the B music, is to start one of the other figures. But necessarily that will mean that you will be offset in the phrasing of the music, because if you need 4 repetitions of the 6-beat pattern to do the whole of the first figure, by the time you have finished the B music, you will only have finished half of the first figure, and you will have to use up half of the next B music to finish the figure. So you get offset against the music, against the phrasing of the music by doing that. And you're also on the wrong side or the other side of the dance, so you have to reorient your brain in the room, you have to reorient your musical brain in the spacing of the phrasing. And after a certain time, however long you can bear it, it's almost like waiting for a musical resolution. At some point, you throw in another second figure, and you'll find that, thank heavens, you get back with the music and you can start again from where you are. So that to me is the best game about this dance, apart from the lilt, which I really love in the stepping. That playing with the musical phrasing and going off it and coming back onto it again is just delightful. So it remains to practice all of those 3 figures, and to practice them at first, as I have done before, in a regular predictable pattern to make it easier to be confident with what we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the A figure twice to settle in, and we're going to do the B figure 4 times to cross the dance. No, we'll do the B figure twice, and that'll finish 1 B music. And then we'll do the 3rd figure once, and that'll take us through the whole of the B music, so we'll finish up. So we do 2 first figures, 2 second figures, 2 crossings, and 1 third figure round the square. And we'll do that several times through, and I'm not going to do that with the very slow music, or am I? Okay, I'll do it a couple of times with the very slow music so you get the hang of it, and then we'll do it with the faster music. Here we go. Are you ready? First figure, back and to the right. Back, mark, over to your right, and mark, back, mark. Over to the left and mark. Back, mark, over to the right and mark. To your partner and tell them we're going to do that again with a twist. Over to the left, greet your partner. But we're going to go across the dance next, so remember to come in very square to your partner. Back, mark, cross the dance and turn left. Come back to your partner, and we're going to do that again to stay with the music. So stay square, back, mark, cross the dance, turn left, and now we're going to do the 3rd figure. So I put my hands behind my back, to the left, and mark, back, turn left. 1, 2, 3, mark, back, turn left, 1, 2. And we're going to do the first figure again now. So tell your partner with 2 hands or a twist. And we're going to do the first figure again. So tell your partner that with a twist again, or 2 hands. Now we're going to cross the dance. So stay very square as you come into your partner, and keep staying square until you start to walk past them. Turn left and mark. Come back to the center and mark. And again, stay very square. Then pass your partner and turn left. And then we're going to do the third figure, which is back and turn left. Back, turn left. Back, turn left. Forward, 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 mark. Okay, let's do that again, but with faster music. And here it comes. One, two, three, here we go. Back and to your right. Back, mark, over to the right and mark. Back, mark, all the way to the left and mark. Back, mark, over to the right and mark. Back, mark. Tell your partner we're doing that again with a twist. All the way to the left. Back, mark. Back to the right. This time we're going to go into a crossing, so stay square on. Back, mark. Pass your partner, turn left and mark. Back, mark. Stay square because we're going to do that again. Pass your partner and turn left and mark. And now we're going to go into the square, going around the square. So we back and turn left, forward, 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 mark. Back, turn left. Forward, mark. Back, turn left, forward, forward. Now we're going to go back into the first figure. So tell your partner that we're doing that. And we're going to do that again, so tell your partner. Now we're going to do a crossing, so stay square. Pass your partner and turn left and mark. Back, mark. Back to your partner, and we're going to do that again, stay square. Turn left and mark. Back. And now we're going to go round the square. Back to the beginning. Tell your partner we're going to do the first figure again. Tell your partner, first figure again. But now we're going to do the second figure, so stay very square on. Back, mark. Pass your partner and turn left and mark. Back, mark. Stay square because we're going to do that again. This time we come back in and tell the partner we're going to go around the house. Great. So now we've got all the figures to play with and all the frills that we can put on when we feel confident. But there's one thing before we have a practice at just trying to mix up all those figures. I would invite you to just try out what it feels like, if you haven't already done this, to dance the first figure facing the other way to the way you've been facing as you've been practicing it. So if you can do this by moving your screen in the dance space that you're in, that's fine. If you can't move the screen, I would suggest that you do this by turning yourself around and not looking at the screen. So I will talk through it as I play the music. So whichever way you've been facing, face 180 degrees the other way and work out in your own mind, okay, if I'm going to start facing this way, which way am I going to go first? I'm going to go to my right. Which way is my right in this dance space now? Because it's not that way anymore, it's that way. So here comes the music. Try starting not facing the way you've been facing up to now. go. 4, 5, 6. Back, mark, over to your right, and mark. Back and mark, and over to your left. Look back at your partner. Back, mark, over to your right, and mark. Back, mark. Back to your partner, do the twist to tell them we're doing that again. Back, mark, over to your right, and mark. Back, mark, over to your left, and mark. Back, mark. Back over to your right, and mark. Back, mark. Back to your partner, do the twist to tell them we're doing that again. Back, mark. So I think you've got the hang of this game now. And this time we're going to do a second figure, so I'm staying straight on. Back and mark and cross the dance and turn left. Back and mark and come back to your partner, but do the first figure immediately. Back to your right, it's the other right this time. Back and mark, over to your left and mark. We're only halfway through the figure, but we're starting the music again, that's fine. Over to the right, back and mark, back to your partner. Do the first figure again, twist. Back, mark, over to your right, and mark, back, mark. All the way to the left, look back at your partner. Back and mark, over to the right, and mark. And this time we're going to do a second figure, so stay square on. Back, mark, pass your partner, turn left and mark. And hooray, we're back with the music. First figure, do the twist. Back, mark. Over to your left and mark. Back and mark, back to your right. Back, mark. Put your hands behind your back, let's do the square. Back and turn left. Forward, 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 mark. Back, turn left. Forward, 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 mark. Back, turn left. Forward, forward, forward. Back. Back to the first figure, twist. And here we go. Back and mark. Over to your right. Back and mark and across to the left. Look back at your partner. Back and mark. Over to your right again. Back and mark. Let's cross the dance. Stay square. Back and mark. Pass your partner and turn left and mark. Come back to the center and we're going to go straight into the square. Back, turn left. Forward, 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 mark. Back, turn left. Forward, 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 mark. Back, turn left. Forward, 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 mark. Back, turn left. And now we're going to do the first figure, so give a twist. Back to your left. Over to your right. Back to your partner. Square, let's do a second figure. Back, pass your partner, turn left and mark. Back. Very good. So all that was missing, was to have fitted in the swing at the end before the music finished. I said I was going to say something about how you work out where to put in, when to put in the swing. So the expectation is that usually musicians would play a piece. If it was structured in A's and B's like that, or if it's in C's, you have to think through 3 parts, but let's say A's and B's. Very typically, they would play 2 A's, 2 B's, 2 A's, 2 B's. And very typically, musicians would finish at the end of a second B. It's kind of, in folk music, that would be kind of typical. It would feel funny and unfinished unless their piece had really been arranged deliberately in that way. In the normal course of events, the end of a second B is where musicians are likely to finish. So if you have enough brain space to think about which figure am I doing with my partner, where are we in the music, which way in the room am I oriented, if you follow the A's and B's and you think, okay, they've been playing for a while now, they've gone through this at least 3 times already, it could be that they might think of winding up. Then you listen out for a second B, and if you have the opportunity to have like half of a second B and you finished one of the figures, whatever figure you were doing, that's the moment to open your arms, go to your partner and start the swing. And if all the ducks of the cosmos line up, it will finish after that. If it doesn't, you just have to take your chances with starting the dance again, or morphing into a sling polska or whatever you want. You could, of course, carry on swinging for the next 64 bars. I think you might get a wee bit bored with that, but it's a possibility. If the musicians notice you swinging and they know this kind of little story, it's possible that they might take pity on you and actually finish the tune then, even if they hadn't really planned to. But you can't count on that, not unless you know your musicians very well. So that's how the dance works. That's the games that you can play with it.